We are 6 hours nearly post-op on Monday the 19th. Took in at 6 o'clock this morning, was down about 8 o'clock into pre-surgery getting ready before we went in and came back through about 11 o'clock. So we were in there getting the hip arthroscopy. It had to be exploratives first. Obviously we've seen that definitely the labral tear in the MRI, however they didn't know the severity of it. Once they actually get in there it could be totally different, and as you'd expect for someone that continued to train for 2 years on a really bad hip, the outcome was a little bit worse than we expected, but anyway, it's all part of the course, isn't it really? So got the camera in. The feedback was, once they actually done some distraction on the hip, so they had to put a cuff round my ankle and kind of crank it and leverage it out a little bit so they could actually get in behind or in between the acetabulum and obviously the femoral head, and discovered that quite a lot of the cartilage in the capsule itself was really severely damaged. So quite a lot of bits basically was smashed up. Cleared away what they could, flushed it out, sutured back on what they had to on what was left, just to try and keep as much padding as possible. And it turned out, like, as they said, a slight cam deformity, so the femoral head gets shaved. It was basically, in other words, like a bit of sandpaper. And again, you can imagine that's just all the bits of cartilage and stuff getting ground up within that hip capsule. So job's a good in, we're all done. And now it's just on the recovery process. I've had some painkillers. I've not had any painkillers since I got up, so that's a pretty good sign. I've obviously had some local anaesthetic put into the hip. Don't know when that'll wear off. I'm assuming it should be around about now, but that's me now roughly in crutches for 4 weeks, so a bit longer, but let's see if these peptides, so that's the point, let's see if these peptides actually speed up this recovery process. Doctors have given me away painkillers, they have given me away blood thinners, I think it's vitamin K or whatever it is, so I've got some blood thinners there just so that I'm not clotting, and we'll be running that for I think up to 2 to 4 weeks. I'm not 100%, I'm just waiting for my prescription to come through. So I'm going to do a wee bit of further research tonight just in case there's any contraindications taking these peptides and the blood thinners, because I don't want any excess bleeding or any other possible issues flaring up. But so far so good. Got crutches. Really surprised with the amount of mobility that I actually do have, so I think I probably will manage the H-bot. I'm going to be looking at trying to take probably just the first week just as minimal movement as possible, just to really let the sutures heal, get the stitches to take, and let some of that initial inflammation settle down, just in case there's any bleeding within the hip. There's quite a few risks that I wasn't fully aware of until they gave me my informed consent last night actually, so I never really got that fully through until last night, and then before I went in for the operation I had to sign that off. So yeah, that's looking like we are pretty much a go now. So we're looking at roughly around 9 injections in total. The only one that I can buddy up is TB500, and the BPC157 can actually be drawn within the same syringe. So that's like at least one saving, but I'm going to have the Violin obviously separate, the copper separate, the MGF separate, the NAD separate. My TRT is obviously going to be separate as well. The vitamin K or the the blood thinners, the anticoagulants, they're going to be the same. So it's looking like it's going to be a pincushion crisp for a while. But that's us back home, like an absolute excursion. A credit to the team obviously at Ross Hall. Like obviously you get what you pay for, but I can't fault them enough. It took a while to get through with the NHS, but once we get a diagnosis with the contrast MRI, they took over, and they did state that this might only buy me some time before I need a full hip replacement. So it's looking like a probability, but I'm hoping with use of the peptides, and I'll probably keep some of them ongoing for a while to be fair, like the TB500 and the BPC, but it is looking like potentially as with most folk anyway, wear and tear, arthritic hips looks like a potential hip replacement, but if I can keep some good quality rehab and prehab movements in throughout my programming and not just always focusing on the numbers, longevity might be increased. But I do jiu-jitsu, man, and combat sports, so we weren't meant to live forever unbroken, really, were we? So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's just a quick update. I will fire this up tonight. I'll fire this up after I've done a little bit of editing, and I'll look at the next steps, which will be getting into the H-Bot over at the Recovery Lounge, get some footage for that shot, and then we will take it week by week and just see where we're at. I won't do loads of blogs, there's no point. I'll just be spitting out and regurgitating the same stuff if nothing's actually changing. But yeah, so that's us. Job done, in and out, no problems thus far anyway. And I'll see you on the next one, team.